Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Today, we are talking about repeating the bar exam. For registering for this, tomorrow you will get sent a study schedule. I will also share it at the end of this session. And it's good I made one for California and for UBE. And it is good for both. There's two versions of it. One is for people that are studying full time, and another is for people that are working while studying. So it's super, I've actually never given out my study schedule before, but this is a tried and true schedule. It's one that really helps work on your memorization and all sorts of stuff. So kind of excited to be sharing it for the first time. So that's what you get for coming, plus some other fun stuff that I'm excited to announce today. So by the end of today, I want you to know how to just get started writing essays. That's a big thing for repeaters. Know the differences between MBE programs. This is a question I get asked and I've seen asked a whole lot. So I want you to make sure that you know the differences, know how to pick one, and then also having a study schedule to follow. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a little bit of other stuff too. Just some free resources I wanted to point out. I have a Facebook group you can join. You can always, post. I'll get the link up and I'll put it in the chat right now. You can join that and ask questions if you have a substantive law question, if you have, if you're looking for a study partner, anything like that at all. You can feel free to join that. I just keep it sort of, I don't know, kind of clean, I guess, a little bit, just so it's really hopefully a helpful resource for you. So I will give you a link to that. We also have our free BarMD strategies course that I will also share the link. That's where the recording of this workshop will be posted. And I also have a bunch of other ones posted there too. We have numerous different workshops, free workshops that you can sign up for. There's some that's for California and UBE specific, and there's one each for the essays and for the performance test, and then one for the MBE also. I also have my podcast that I'm going to start recording new episodes for. It's a good way to just listen to overviews of the law. I really just try to make it a free resource for people to listen to, different overviews of the law. So all the stuff that you really need to know, major issues, and I talk about how to address them in essays, etc. I also think I'm going to start doing breakdowns of essays in the podcast as well. Would you guys like that? If I could type like, all right, you're going to, look at this essay and then get a breakdown of it. I think I'm going to start doing that too, because there is an endless supply of that. So I will definitely start doing that. A bunch of people are saying yes in the chat too. Awesome. Yeah, so I'll start adding that. Also, for those of you that haven't done it yet, we offer a free score review. So we offer a free score review. If you've taken the bar, gotten your scores, and you haven't already had one of these sessions, sign up for a score review. That's where me or a member of my team will look at your scores, we'll look at your essays and PT or PTs, and we'll give you our assessment. So, and it says California in this, but you can actually use this. Oh, actually, yeah, you can actually use this this says UBE, but you can use it for both California or the UBE. So you can use that for either. So feel free, if you have not scheduled a score review or done one of these with my team, they're 20 minutes. We'll look at your essays, we'll look at your PT, we'll look at your scores, kind of help you game plan a little bit. Talk about, what you have, resources that you can use, some good free resources, etc. So we like to just really, repeating the bar sucks. As anybody that has had to do that can tell you, it's not a fun thing. So we like to offer that for free. I'm also thinking about doing like a live 1 hour once a week office hours that anybody can join that would be free. So I've been debating doing this. I think I'm going to. It will probably be during the day, during the week. I don't have any more evening times available, unfortunately, but I think I'm going to do that. And tell me if you guys would like this, that you can submit a question that I will answer that has to be specific enough, but I will go over it as long as I get it the day before and it makes sense to answer it, then I'm going to start doing these sessions where I could, answer questions about the Black letter law, strategy stuff, whatever it is that people have questions about. So let me know in the chat. You can send me a DM if you would like that, if you would sign up. I want to do it if people will come. So that's some stuff that you have available to you. I will give you the link also. But yeah, so I will give you the link for the Facebook group because there you can reach me. You can definitely reach me there. And then we always in our emails that we send out, we always put the link to the podcast and to some of our other stuff as well. You also, just as a heads up, I have more free workshops and more things that we are doing this time than I have ever done before. Thank God for that, for having a little bit more time. So, but if you go to this page on my website, which I'll put the link right now, so we have lots of free workshops coming up, and we have like an invite list that you can sign up for. Also, just to be notified, because we have tons of free stuff coming up. And if you want to be able to use that, all of my free workshops I tend to do in the evenings. So check that out. It can be really, really helpful to you too, because I know taking the bar again sucks. So I like to provide a lot of these free resources. I also just wanted to, Tanya, yeah, I think I'm going to do it. And hi, Tanya. We have our Bar MD books. Also, the UBE versions are being released as well. So just as a heads up, if you're not familiar with these, I have template books for any topic on the essays. So you can also get free samples if you go to that link that I just posted, and I'll post it again. If you go to this link, and there's a section to download free sample materials. So if you check that out, you can see samples of my books for the PT book, actually, I don't think the PT one is there. The essay book, the UBE books are out on May 13 digitally for the essay book and May 29th for the PT book. So just as a heads up, those are coming out. We just have to they're done, just finishing getting the tech set up on the back end. So, and making sure that we have staff available. But those are coming out just in the next couple of weeks here. I'm super, super excited that those are done. So just be on the lookout for that. I'm really, really excited. I also have essay workshops and PT workshops coinciding with the release of everything too. So just be on the lookout. And I have some really, really exciting, super low cost stuff too that I'm announcing tonight. So that I'm excited about. All right. And then I have my MBE book too. So, and my MBE book, for those of you, can you guys tell me, you can send me a DM. Tell me if when you got your results, was it the essay? Was it the PT? Was it the MBE? Like, which of all of the above were the things that were most challenging for you? Or did your scores, do you need the most improvement on? So I'll just be curious, because you should, if you are like, I'm going to do these workshops that will help you coming up. And then my MBE book is newer. I released it this past winter, and I'm super excited about it because it has all of the black letter law in it, plus 410 released real questions with answer explanations. It also incorporates a study schedule for those of you that are just like kind of doing questions, just like, all right, I'm just going to do 30 questions a day, whatever it is. I think that's good. I think you need to have a set number of questions, but this actually adds some structure into your review. Tells you what subjects to do, so you make sure that you're not neglecting everything. I'm also doing 1 or 2 free MBE workshops coming up, and I'm going to talk about, and if anybody here, does anybody here have Adaptivar and I can like do a little bit of a walkthrough too. And if you don't mind, message me. If you don't mind messaging me and giving me your login so I can share screen. I promise I won't share it or use it or anything at all, but I can't use anybody else's here. And if you want to do that, then I can share screen and I can show people how to read data. So whoever shares their info, I'll basically be doing an analysis of your data a bit and showing you really how to like use Adaptivar to its fullest. So it's something I do a ton of MBE tutoring to help people. Oh, I need someone that has done questions. Did you do it before? Have you used it previously? If you've used it previously, then I can also do it. Yeah. So just if you send me your info, just send it to me as a DM real quick. So with my MBE book, though, it has all the black letter law, and then all of the questions, all of the 410 questions they are keyed to the black letter law you review. So you review questions on homicide, and then you review the black letter law on homicide, and then you do questions on homicide, et cetera. And it goes through and you do everything this way. So it really helps you to see the patterns. It helps you to see how the black letter law is tested. It helps to test your understanding, et cetera. So super comprehensive, ton of questions. If you can get a printed copy of it so that you can actually like mark up the questions. And there's also tons and tons and tons of tips and tricks and strategies, stuff like that too. So I'm really excited. It's such a labor of love for me putting that book together. All of these books are, but so first, understanding your scores. So make sure, and I'm going to put the link in here. And again, it says UBE in the link, but you can use it for UBE or California. Schedule a chat with me or my team. It's totally, totally free. Yeah, we just want to help you understand your scores. So check that out. So understanding your scores a little bit though. So for California, you needed to get a 1390 or 60.75 on each written event to pass the written portion. UBE, you've just got to know your jurisdiction. If you're on one of the jurisdictions that uses a 1 to 6 scoring, generally a 4 is passing. Yeah, generally a 4 is passing. And one thing I really want to say is some people can be a little bit shy. And they're hard to understand, but the essays the PT, looking at those that material, reading your score sheet, all of it is really helpful data. So that's all I see it as, and I hope that you look at it too. It can be really confusing to interpret, but all it does is help us see what you need to improve and to help you create a strategy to help you pass. So just throwing that out there, because sometimes people are like, oh, I'm really embarrassed or whatever, they don't want to share it, or they think it's a lot worse than it is. So, and people don't know, how many points away can I really improve? Can I do it? What's a reasonable timeline? All of those questions, if you have those questions, talk to somebody about it, because I have seen, massive score shifts. I had a bunch of people, jump up over 20 points. I had somebody last time, she jumped up 18 points on her MBE alone, in a UBE jurisdiction. And that happens quite a lot. So I just want everybody to be a little bit encouraged. California, even if you're 100 points away, more than that, it's definitely feasible. So I just want everybody to know that really understanding your scores is really part of the key to helping you pass. The other part of it is obviously lots and lots and lots of practice too. And we're going to talk about that. So getting into doing practice. So I don't know why there's that extra little bullet, but one of the things that I want everybody to do and to feel comfortable with is writing essays. So how many of you here feel like you're like, I just don't want to start writing essays yet. I don't know the law well enough. And how many of you felt that like even a month into bar prep last time, if you did it before? It's not too early to start practicing. Okay. How many of you can do this? How many of you are scared to start writing essays? I'm going to talk to you about how do you get started when you're scared. That's what we're going to talk about right now. If you're like nervous to do it. I'm so happy for those of you that aren't, by the way. Like that's fantastic. Okay. If for those of you that aren't also, how many of you are scared to do it, closed note and timed? That's really what I mean. When I say practice, I want you doing them closed note and timed. I'm going to relaunch this. Hang on one second. Okay. I'm going to clear it. Now tell me, are you scared to start doing it closed note and timed? Because that's what I'm referring to, because that's how essays should be done, is closed note and timed early on. Yeah, if you're just like nervous, you feel like you don't know enough, etc. This is all you need to do. And this is really like my fail-safe way to get you writing. Because I have done this for years. I've worked with people like for years that are just like, they don't want to write an essay. And I get it. It's so scary. And I remember what that was like. Because I've been there too. It's not fun. So I want you to follow the study schedule that I provide, and you'll get this sent to you it should be tomorrow. I'm also going to drop it in the chat at the end of the day today, though, too, at the end of this session. But you're going to spend 2 to 3 days reviewing a subject topic by topic. That's it. You spend 2 to 3 days reviewing. It should be a review. You're not trying to understand every little tiny thing. You're not trying to do that. You are just, all right, let me review. You are going to start memorizing. Anybody that tells you that you don't need to memorize until later, that is crazy. And that is such regularly given advice. What people don't tell you often is that when you're practicing, that's memorizing. So when you're doing a practice essay, when you're doing this stuff, that is memorization. That absolutely is memorizing. So the large majority, look, 80% of you are nervous to start doing essays closed note and timed. 80% of you that voted, or 79%. So you're going to spend 2 to 3 days reviewing a subject. You're going to go topic by topic within each subject. So I want you to not just be like, all right, I'm just going to do Civ Pro. Well, what are you doing within Civ Pro? The way that I give stuff out, and I can, like when I create for like my detailed study schedules that tell you like exactly what to do every day, we tell you you're going to make an attack outline of very particular things. So I'll show you guys. So when I say topic by topic, like this is a sample from my California essay book. So this is a list of basically all of the issues within, because this is a template for for all of these issues. So you'd want to have review individual rights. So free speech, freedom of association, freedom of religion, substantive due process, equal protection, procedural due process, takings. Then look at the various congressional authority, 10th Amendment, delegation, privileges and immunity, contracts clause, supremacy. So you would basically go through, look at all of the topics within a subject and be like, all right, I'm going to look at this, and this. And you want to just really think about, and the thing that I do in my books is I'm looking at what is tested in the essays, like what actually comes up or really is testable. For the MBE version, I've gone through every single available MBE and extracted the available rules. So it shows you like that book contains everything that you need for the MBEs that's ever been given. that it's available. So for 25 years. So you want to just go topic by topic and read through the issues and just, do a review of the rules. The more you read it, you're going to memorize it a little bit more, but really the memorization comes from practice. Let me go back. So spend a couple days, 2 to 3 days reviewing a subject topic by topic, follow the study schedule, and then you're going to start writing essays in that subject and in that topic. Okay, so how do you start writing though, right? I don't know the law well enough yet. This is what I hear over and over and over and over and over. So one, you know more than you think you do. You know a lot more than you think you do. So let's say you grab an essay. Let's say you grab an essay and you're like, all right, you look at it and it tests you on personal jurisdiction, right? It tests you on personal jurisdiction. And let's say it's personal jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction. Do y'all know the rules, the main rules for personal jurisdiction and subject matter jurisdiction? Send it to me as a DM in the chat right now. Do personal jurisdiction first. What are just like the main issues for personal jurisdiction? I know you guys didn't think you were going to get quizzed tonight. Just like your headings, your main headings. Yeah. Yeah. Right. What is it? And then what would your headings be? Right. So it's something like this. Yeah, Mike, that's part of it. That's the minimum context test. So it'd be something like this. PJ, traditional basis, right? Which you have via domicile, consent, or service. Then you need a long arm statute. And then you go through the constitutional test. Are there minimum contacts, which is purposeful availment and foreseeability? Relatedness, this is either specific or general jurisdiction. And fairness, is it fair for the court to exercise jurisdiction? These are all of the little issues that come up under personal jurisdiction. That's it. Does this look a little bit more familiar? Do you all remember this? I'm going to delete. These are just the buzzwords from the rule. But this is what we do. Most of personal jurisdiction focuses on the constitutional test, or what a lot of people just call it the minimum contacts test, which really is all three of these things. So are there minimum contacts? Did the defendant purposely avail themselves of the privileges and benefits of the forum state? Was it foreseeable they would be hailed into court there? Is the claim related to the forum state? Did the cause of action, usually it's through specific jurisdiction, which is when the cause of action arose in the jurisdiction. That's relatedness. Is it fair? Is it fair to the plaintiff? Is it fair to the defendant? Where are the witnesses and evidence located? Right? So you're going to just go through PJ, work through this. I break basically, when I say go through topic by topic, you want to look at all right, personal jurisdiction, what does that consist of? You don't need every tiny little nuance and detail. You don't need every tiny little thing, right? You need to really know big picture and know the basics of what you need to know for an essay. Okay, does everybody have this? Now write out PJ, write out personal jurisdiction. What are the main points in personal jurisdiction? Basically what I just wrote. And send it to me as a DM. We're just doing a little bit of practice so you can see. So send me a DM. Good. A lot of you got it. Do you remember it now a little bit? Awesome. All right, so just doing a little bit of practice, right? So we just all right, if you want to do a PJ essay, right? So this is important because we're going to come back to this. So, because if you do an essay and you're like, I didn't know any of those rules, then you're going to do some rules drills. So you're going to look it up. You're going to be all right, what are those rules? And you're going to drill it just like we did. So you're going to read it and then write it down and write it down and write it down, or put it on a flashcard, quiz yourself, do it verbally. You definitely know more than you think you know. And one thing I really, really, really want people to know is the entire process of the bar, which sucks studying for. The entire thing is identifying what you know and what you don't know. So that means you have to do this practice so that you identify what you know and what you don't know. That's the entire point of it. And doing that sucks. It is not fun at all. It's just brutal. So grab an essay, right? So you're going to spend a couple days doing that, figuring out, going through a subject topic by topic. Don't just do right, I'm going to do a third of Civ Pro, which is how I learned it, because nobody told me otherwise. But go topic by topic and have I call it creating attack outlines. So you're going to have a topic. You're going to create an attack outline for all of these things that I showed you in the book, in the table of contents: PJ, SMJ, venue, various motions, all sorts of stuff. And then you're going to grab an essay and look at it, issue spot it, do what you know. So you see an essay and you're like, all right, this is testing me on PJ. I know part of PJ. I'm going to do what I know. And then you're identifying what you don't know, and you've got to do something with that information. This is where that everyday memorization comes in. And I think even starting now, as you start to identify what you know and what you don't know, for everything you don't know, do something with that and dedicate 30 minutes to an hour every day, starting now, to memorizing that stuff. And it will help you out so much better. The way memory works is, and there's this thing called the forgetting curve. I won't go into the details of the study, but basically, I learned something on day one and I start to forget it. And on day two, right? Like you try to write PJ tomorrow, you're not going to remember it as well. You're going to have forgotten part of it. But the more frequently and that you review it, the slower you forget it. So generally speaking, if you follow my study schedule, it's going to help with your memorization because of the amount of repetition there is in it. So that's one thing. But spending a little bit of time every day just focused on memorization, even just a little bit, 30 to 60 minutes is great. Don't just do all of it. Don't just do, just only do memorization, do the practice. But yeah, so identify what you don't know and work on memorizing it. All right. So let's say you do an essay and you do part of it and you're like, all right, I did terribly at that, right? I did terribly at that. Then you focus on what you didn't know, and then you can redo the essay, right? Do it again a couple of days later, and you will be so thrilled because you will actually do a good job at it. And that actually feels good. So do the essay, do what you know, and then do something with the information you don't know, right? Sound okay? And Sam, I will answer that in a little bit. Just remind me or put it in the Q&A. Does that sound a little bit easier, like a little bit more doable? Because you have to know that like it's okay if you get an essay and it's just absolutely terrible. You still got to do it. You still got to do it. And I generally want people writing essays pretty much every day. If you're still too anxious to write, right? If you're still too anxious to write, you've got to get to a point where you are comfortable writing essays. So that's the point. We want to get you there as soon as possible, as soon as possible. So if you're still too anxious to write, fine, right? And it's early. This is very early for bar prep still. Like, I totally acknowledge that. Not that I don't want you, like, I always want people to have the mindset of, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to start early and do it as much as possible to never have to do it again. So if you're still too anxious, just read the essay, spot the issues, write out the rules maybe for what you do know, and read the answer. For 1 to 2 days then, right? Focus on memorizing those rules. And then this doesn't mean that that's all you're doing. You're doing the other stuff the next day. But if you have to write an essay on Monday and you do this for that essay on Monday, Tuesday you're doing a different essay, right? And you might do this again for that different essay. But just read the essay, spot the issues, and read the answer. And be like, do something once you identify the rules that you don't know. And then memorize those, doing these same things, making flashcards. I did do flashcards. I would handwrite the rules over and over and over and over. So just like I went over the rules with you, or I didn't really go over the rules, I went over the headings, the major topics within personal jurisdiction. Do that and also identify what are the buzzwords from that rule. So rewrite that over and over. You can also recite the rules verbally. So it depends on the type of learner. I am not married to like any one particular thing. So do what works for you. Don't just because everybody else says, oh, do this or oh, do that. Do what you know works for you. You know yourself best. You know how you learn. Then redo the essay. Then, 1 to 2 days later, write the essay, then close it in time after you worked on it. It's a lot less scary to write an essay when you've already read the answer a couple days ago. And then it's still working on your memorization. And the whole point of doing this is so that you are not doing essays open note and untimed. That does not really do anything for your memorization, maybe a tiny bit, but you get so much more. You get so much more if you do it this way, because the way that memorization works, like it creates deeper neural pathways in your brain when you force yourself to do the recall and when you don't do it by just looking at something. And also when you're just reading the rules from something, you're often overdoing it with the rules. You're often just totally overdoing it with the rules. So I don't want you to do that. Do the essays closed note, do it timed, and see where you're at. And that's what you've got to do. That's what you've got to do. Does that make sense to everybody? Does it sound a little bit more feasible? Let me do a little. All right, let's do this. Are you a little bit less nervous to do essays if you take these approaches? And if you're still really nervous to do it, shoot me an email, unless you hit no on accident. So like this is a way you can get yourself to write and do this over and over and over. Hey, Clute, I sent you a message. I don't know if you got it the other day. That's what I want to talk about. Just like get yourself to start writing. Get yourself to start writing. Oh, wow. That's amazing, Clute. That's amazing. So let's see. So most of you are now less nervous to write essays. That's what I was really like, one of the big things that I was really hoping to get for everybody that's here to get out of this is to not have that fear of starting to write essays and to do them closed out and timed, and to know how to start doing that. To really know how to start doing that is like, that's the key. That is the key. So, all right, now let's talk about MBEs for a minute. One, understand your percentile ranking. The number, if you've gotten your score sheet, if you have taken the bar and gotten a score sheet because you didn't pass, the number there represents where it gives you like a 56 or 52 or 4 or whatever it is, right? On the right where it says percentile and it tells you all the subjects on the MBE. That tells you how many people you did better than. So it's not your percent correct or anything like that. It's your percentile ranking. It was a Facebook message, Khulud. So that is what that number is. A lot of people are confused by it. So I just wanted to clear that up. The other thing is you cannot compare February and July numbers from your own score sheets in terms of the percentile ranking, because about a third of the people that take it in July take it in February. So like in California, for instance, almost 10,000 people or 9,000 people take the bar exam in California in July. About 3,000 take it in February. And the people that take the exam, it can be a little bit different. There's different challenges. Not that the exams anywhere in a July or a February are more difficult or easier. Like they're the same in terms of difficulty, but the numbers can look a little bit different in the percentile. And if you do a score review, we can look at that stuff with you and explain it. The other thing that you all should be aware of is the NCBE MBE subject matter outline. And I'm going to pull that up right now. So this is really, really helpful. I'm going to put a link to this document for everybody here. I'll put a link to it here. So why is this helpful? It tells you what all of the categories and what is tested on the MBE and also percentage breakdown. So like in civil, it's really important that for each subject, you read the note that's underneath it. So you want to read that note because it gives you important information. So like 2/3 of the Civ Pro questions are based on categories 1, 3, and 5. Do you really want to know those topics with jurisdiction and venue, pretrial procedures, motions? I mean, you obviously want to know everything, but if you are not doing well in one of these, like what I call a heavy hitter category, then you want to identify where your weakness is. Is it broad? Is it in one particular thing? Is it in, SMJ? Is it in PJ? What is it? Do you really want to identify that? This is something I do a ton of in MBE tutoring. And I also cover this stuff. I have a course called MBE Minutia, where I go through tons and tons of tips and strategies and all sorts of stuff for the MBE. So if that was your weakness, that class is a really good, I think a really helpful supplement. I've had a ton of positive feedback from it. So check that out. So this is a really helpful document to help you understand where a lot of the points are. You're going to get a lot more questions in jurisdiction and venue, pretrial procedures and motions. So if you're doing terribly in appeals, right, you're going to maybe get 2 questions on appeals. So don't spend an entire day or 2 days on appeals, right? Because it's just probably not going, you do want to the extent that you can do better in it, but it's just, this helps you to determine how much time to spend on a particular topic. For example, in property, all of the topics are equal, but a lot of people spend a ton of time on present estates and future interests. I get it. It's super tricky stuff. I totally get it. But you might get 1 question on it, right? You're going to get 1 question on it, essentially. So do you want to spend 2, 3 full days doing that? No, but people do it. And I get it. I totally get it. But like understand the breakdown and what you are going to see so you can really allocate your time. So I want to talk about that on the MBE. I'm also doing a free a MBE workshop in a couple weeks, and I have a special MBE thing I'm going to talk to y'all about in a minute as well that I'm really, really excited about, specifically for Civ Pro, for the Civ Pro MBE. So I just wanted to point that out. I put the link to this document, download it, read it, print it. I think it is so handy. Also, when you're looking at AdaptAbar or UWorld or whatever MBE program you're using, they're going to just tell you, well, you're not doing well in general principles in criminal law. Well, what does that consist of? It's all of these things, right? So you want to know what that means so you can hone in and just review that stuff, right? So that's, where this will help you be more effective in your studying and allocating your time. So we want to be, smarter, not harder. Or yeah, right. That's the saying. Just a couple points on the MBE. I also want to talk about MBE programs. So AdaptAbar versus UWorld. This is what I get asked about a lot. So I just like to address it here. I see people just ask this question everywhere all the time. So Adaptable has 1,608 questions in it. They have Adaptable and UWorld they both have every single released MBE question. They're both in, they both do. Adaptable also has questions that they have written in civil procedure and also some in property. I think that they only have their own written ones in those two, which makes sense because there were not enough in those subjects that are released. They have really detailed answer explanations. I do tend to prefer their answer explanations over UWorld's. The difference with UWorld is that they have graphic answer explanations and there's some useful tables. So the answer explanations can also be different with both of these. So one of the things that people don't know is that the NCBE that licenses the questions, that wrote the questions, they do not give out answer explanations for everything. A lot of answer explanations or a lot of MBE questions that are released, they only tell you which answer is correct, not why it's correct. So bar prep companies, myself included, have had to write answer explanations for a ton of these. And that gets complicated. So, and people have different approaches to writing those. So Adaptable and UWorld have some differences in that way. It doesn't always, though, tell you why you got it wrong, right? Their answer explanation might not address the reason that you picked C and why C is incorrect, right? So that's where, like, you know, having an expert can actually explain it. So I do a lot of MBE tutoring where I'm actually going through people's MBEs. I'm helping them understand why they're getting stuff wrong. I'm looking for patterns and what they're missing, et cetera. So just throwing that out there. But I think both programs are really good. Adaptivar's data is by far better. So Adaptivar's data, you can look at your data by time period to check your progress. So I like that a lot. The thing that I say, though, is like if you have used Adaptivar several times, then you might want to try the other one, or vice versa. If you used UWorld a couple of times, then try Adaptivar. It really depends on the person. I do like that UWorld has more questions. There are questions written by, like I said, extra questions beyond what Adaptivar has, so beyond the 1,600. So UWorld has like 500-ish more questions that they have written than Adaptivar has. So that does give you some more variety. And I've seen a lot of their questions. I think they're really solid for the most part. Not all of them. Any questions written by Adaptivar, UWorld, any other bar prep company have not gone through the same incredibly rigorous process the real MBE questions have gone through. So just throwing that out there. So if you've tried one, try the other. I honestly do not think the MBE program that you use itself makes the difference. It's how much you use all the information that is within every single question. So even mine, like I have an MBE program. I also say, like, save the money. If you've bought Adaptivar and used it, you know, before, you get a discount. I think the same thing with UWorld, you know, is the value. And also, like, some people get both. I don't think the value is there to do that, generally speaking, but I just wanted to kind of explain some of the differences. Really, at the end of the day, I have a preference for Adaptivar. That's really for me as a data person, though, like wanting to look at it and understand the data. You also can pull information from Adaptivar a lot easier, and you can pull a PDF report so that you can go through stuff and like print them out. I like to go through stuff on paper. I do it on my iPad and looking at students' progress. So I just wanted to explain some of that stuff for a few minutes. Any questions on that, let me know in the chat or in the Q&A. You should watch out for my upcoming MBE workshop too. I'm doing a free workshop. Some more bullet points. So practice using real questions. So both Adaptivar and UWorld and you know, any good reputable bar prep company does have questions. Make sure they have answer explanations. So I am, unless they have changed this, I do not think BarMax has answer explanations for everything. So that is my one big caution about BarMax. I know that if you buy it, you get it forever if you don't pass, but like you have to understand why you're missing problems. And if they don't explain that, then it's really not worth it for their MBE. Know how to read your data, know how to dissect the questions. I'm doing some free CivPro workshops, but I'm also doing a CivPro MBE workshop for $10. And I'm charging that because we have to pay to license questions. So if you want to do that, it's going to be on the 19th of May. It'll be 2 hours, and I'll put the link in the chat. So if you're interested, that is a CivPro set strategies that I'm going to go through. I'm going to dissect 10 questions. I'm going to show you how to dig deeply into each MBE. I'm actually going to dissect these questions. So you'll see how deeply you can go into them, all of the information you can get. And I'll show you, what to do with that information too. So I'm really excited. I'm going to do that workshop. And also then if you do the workshop and you decide you want to do the other course, you can apply what you paid. This is for either. It's MBE, so you can use it for California or for UBE. It doesn't matter which. So, and I wanted to do that super, super cheap just to make it really accessible and affordable. I just have to pay to license. So there's a hard cost for me. So did somebody want to send me their login? And I'm going to show you guys how to read data on Adaptivar. If you want to do that, send it to me and I'll do that. We'll do that in a little bit though. I'm going to talk a little bit more. I'm going to talk about the study schedule. Give me 1 second to pull it up. There is a version of this for both California and UBE. And this is I just pulled this. This is a schedule that I give in my essay book. This is a schedule I give in my essay book. So I just pulled it from there. So if you have that, then you can do this. But it basically explains all of it. So the schedule is here. And there's basically, I think there's 5 weeks on it. So you basically have 12 weeks-ish to the bar. So there's 5 weeks, like regular weeks here. So basically copy this, do 2 of these. That goes down to here. And then this is your schedule for the last 2 weeks before the bar. So again, there is this 5-week section here. Double it, do this twice, and then do the last 2 weeks here. All right. And then I walk you through exactly how it works. And then there's also below it, it's the same information basically here, but this is for working studiers. This section, the second half of this document is for people that are working. And so it breaks it down further here. And then also the same 2 weeks here. So if you're working, it's here. If you're full-time, there's also a version of this that we are going to email. There's a version of this that I am going to email and that has the UBE. So yeah, and I'll drop this in the chat at the end of the session today. And then we also are emailing out both of these schedules, California and UBE. Each document contains both full-time studier and someone that is working full-time. So all you do is you number the subjects. This is generally speaking and it has this for the UBE subjects on that schedule. This is the order I like people to review subjects in. This is the order I like people to follow just because of overlap and like things are next to each other because it makes sense to study one after the other. Like doing evidence near when you do criminal law and procedure, because you will see these sometimes crossed over in essays. For California, doing torts, contracts, and then property, and then remedies, because you see remedies in torts and contracts, a little bit of property essays. Civ Pro, starting with it, because people generally hate it the most, especially for the MBE. But also because you see overlap, you see Civ Pro mixed in with the other subjects. So this is the order I like people to follow. And then what you do for each study block. So like you have an AM study block and a PM study block, and then a review block. So there's 3 blocks a day this is full-time. And then also I think for full-time studying. And then if you're a working studier, there's 2 study blocks. So I explain what to do here. So this is how I number the subjects. And the reason they change colors is important. They change colors because I don't always want you looking at like Civ Pro and then torts and then contracts. We want to mix up the subjects. So I have mixed it up all throughout for you here. So this is a really it's actually difficult to do this, but that's why I wanted to give it to you because I know it's tough to do this on your own. That's why I wanted to give it out. And I have never given this out before. I have never given this out in anything free before, but I decided I wanted to do it today. It does not have my answers. It has the selected answers and an issue checklist. Yes, Hanya is correct. This is called interleaving. We're interleaving the subjects, which is a really important learning strategy. It's important to do. The way I built my bar prep program is based on education and like the best ways of teaching, the best ways of learning, the best ways to memorize. Like that is what I do research and reading and all of that stuff on to make sure the materials are really built for a test like this. So just go through the schedule and apply it. And this is it. Notice it does not have a ton of time for you to just sit and like review the black letter law. The one thing I will say though is the way that it works, the reason it's important is because remember I talked about Tina and anybody that's doing UBE, there was a UBE version of this that has the UBE specific subjects. So instead of community property, it's family law. So I just have one up on the screen. The thing that is important about this is that like you will start a day, you're going to do subject 1. So you're going to review the subject for a little bit, and then you're going to do something active. So do, an essay, etc. So you do subject 1, the activities that are assigned, which are explained above. Then you do subject 2, and then you do subject 3 in the evening. This is just review. So you do these subjects today, and then there's repetition the next day, and the next day, and the next day throughout. So you're constantly going through, and you have the repetition. So this will help to maximize your memorization. So that's why this is important. And because you are reviewing them at a frequency, which is going to help you with your memorization. So you're going to do the review here in a subject. I would also say you'll do the review, like add to this a little bit, a little bit extra, which is the stuff that you had done that day that you knew that you struggled with remembering the rules. So incorporate that active practice from what you didn't know into here. And then you always take a break. So at each study block for a full-time studier, so somebody that is not working, or is only working part-time, these are about 3 to 4 hours. So this is 3 to 4 hours, then you take a break, 3 to 4 hours, and you have little breaks in there too, like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And this is an hour or two. If you're working, this is 2-ish hours, and this is 2-ish hours. So if you are working, it's 3 to 4 hours a day, generally Monday through Thursday, with Fridays off and longer days on the weekend. And you might move, if you're working, you might move a PT instead of on Tuesday. I always do them on Tuesdays because that's the day that you do them. But you might move it to a Saturday, Sunday. So it's really important, like read through my instructions in detail because it's really important, I think. And then once you get the hang of it, you'll get in a groove. It's very intense. You will end up writing a ton of essays. That's the important thing. You'll end up writing a ton of essays, doing a lot of MBEs, etc. So just to be on the lookout for that email. I am also doing one other thing that I'm announcing tonight that I'm really excited about is I'm doing these bar essay checkups. These are about 5-hour sessions. They're 5-hour sessions. So you're going to do, what you do is you show up. I'm going to talk a little bit, like I might talk a little bit about the law or whatever, give some tips. Then you're going to have 3 hours timed. And you're going to do either 3 essays or, for California, 6 essays if you are UBE, or 2 PTs. So you can do this if you're California or UBE. I am providing all of the information. I am providing the essays. I am providing the PTs. So I will provide everything you need. It'll be a packet that you print out. So you're going to show up. I'm going to talk a little bit. Then you get 3 hours. And then we alternate. Then I'm going to take an hour and review the materials for either California or the UBE. And then I switch and do the other jurisdiction. So you'll get a break after. You'll do after the 3-hour session. Yeah. So there are 7 different ones. Some of them I tell you what subjects we're covering, and the last 2 is a surprise. So it's really like blind. You also can like forget about this, right? You can be like, all right, I'm not going to look, right? And then we will post the packets. The packets will be posted a day or 2 before they start, before we do the sessions. And you will get my answer to them. You will get, or at least my issue checklist for all of them. So I'm really excited about all of these. We will send out links to all of them for these checkups. So they're bar essay checkups. We will send out a link so you can register. I'll put the link for the first one in here though, so that you can see. And if you sign up, you might not see your access yet. We will be sending that out, getting it set up. But like, here's the link for the first one on June 7th. So yeah, so I'm really excited. I just thought accountability is really good. Stimulating the stress of being like, all right, time, gotta go. I'm sitting down, I'm focused, and I'm going to do it. And then you get the review is also really helpful. It's live. So there's going to be people joining. There might be noise going on, like distractions, all of that type of stuff. I thought that would actually really stimulate it. I did this every week when I studied for the bar. And I really do think, and me and a group of friends got together and we all did this. So yeah, and it's California or UBE. Everybody shows up, we do the sessions, and then we review. And it'll probably start, so you have the 3 hours, and then I'll go over the UBE materials first. So California will take a break for an hour, and then I'll do California after that, just because it's later in the UBE jurisdictions for the most part. So I'm doing these, I'm super excited about it, but I thought it would help facilitate that practice that I really encourage you to do. And then, yeah, I'll provide all the materials for it. So, and they're $25 each, that's it. All right. Any questions? I know there was one question in the chat. What do I think about critical pass flashcards? Yeah, I love them. I actually helped to write some of their materials ages ago. If you're working, these sessions I think they're all on Sunday, except there's one Saturday. So I did them on the weekend to accommodate people that are working. Even though I was trying not to work on the weekends anymore, I'm going to do it because it's better for everybody. So what do I think about critical path? I am a fan. I also really like it when you make your own. You can't make your own for everything though, realistically. So these are really good, but you should absolutely add to them and make your own little ones too, just to, if it helps you. Yeah, and for the essays checkups, yeah, you're writing the essays, closed note, untimed. And you will get the materials a day or two in advance. So that if you want to print them, you can print them out and you can look at them in advance if you need to do that, if you want to, get more comfortable with it. But I'm super excited about it. And I am going to do they're not graded by me. I am going to hang out and I'm going to be explaining what did you need to address in each essay. I will write at least an issue checklist, if not a whole sample answer that I write for California and for UBE. And there will be PT session. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. I'm really excited. So if you do this, if you did all of them, you're going to be writing a lot of essays. Oh, and then I'm going to do an AdaptBar one right now. UWorld, it doesn't really, AdaptBar, I'm going to show you how to read your data. So it doesn't really have the same feature for UWorld. So it's not as much to really look out for that. All right, let me show everybody that wants to see the demo for AdaptBar. I'm going to do that right now. And I'm going to drop let me drop the schedule in the chat. I'm going to do too many things at once. Let's see. Let me log in really quickly. And thank you, Sawa, for sharing. All right, and then let me drop the schedule in the chat. So here is the California one. Where did it go? Okay, there's the California one. And here is the UBE one. So there's both of them. So save that, download it, etc. We will also be emailing it. So have no fear, we will send that out. I sent it. Can people let me know that they got it? It shows that it was sent. Curious, which one do you need? Yeah, I got it in the chat. It's attached in the chat. A bunch of people got it. Let me just drop it one more time. There's UBE. And here's California. And also, if you want the link to that, I'm super excited. This CivPro MBE workshop I'm doing for $10, I think is going to be really, really, really good. And please feel free to tell people about it, etc. Luis, we are emailing it. We're emailing it also. So if you can't get the study schedule, we're sending it out as well. So, all right, let me show you all how to use let me show you some stuff with AdaptBar. I did send to everyone. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing up for you, Curious. Are you on a phone? But we are emailing it. Although if you have a .edu email address, oftentimes those block our emails. So weird that it's not showing up for some of you. If it doesn't show up for you, send me an email to hello. Okay, so I've got somebody's stats pulled up here. Oh, that's weird, Tanya. I'll get that figured out. But Tanya, you don't need it because you've got the other one. So performance. This is what I care about, is the stuff under performance. So this person hasn't done any yet, but let's see. So let's just do everything. This person's done a lot of questions, has pretty decent data here, actually. What I like to do is look at, if you click expand all, you can see how they're doing within the various subjects. So let's see, if you click on, the thing that I always like to do is look at view PDF. So if you click view PDF, often it'll say pop-up window blocked. You click on this little double window thing here, and it brings up this screen. So it tells me how they're doing in all of the various topics and how many questions they've done in that topic. So, and I want to look at this. So let me see. I'm going to download this. So now I have a PDF of this, this is one of the features that I like with AdaptBar, is that you can actually get PDFs of your data, and you can get PDFs of the questions that you have done as well. You can't do PDFs. The questions like before you do them. That's the only thing you can't do, but you have that in my book. So looking at this, this is this person. This is for, not for the current bar cycle. So I look at this, and the first thing I look at is okay, I'm looking at the heavy hitter categories. So jurisdiction and venue, it's 51.6%. I want that higher. Pre-trial procedures, this is also a heavy hitter. I want that higher. And I'll send this to you, Sawa. And motions. Motions is okay, not bad, 58.9%. I really want everything to be closer to 65 or higher. I'm going to show you though, the problem is this is from a large range of period of time. So as you get through the study cycle, you want to look at, okay, how am I doing now for the last month? So I'll show you how you can restrict the dates. Con law, half the questions are in individual rights. So this is not bad. This isn't bad, but they've not done enough con law questions. So if you look, they've done, well, that's actually not that bad. Contracts, half the questions are formation and performance, breach, and discharge. These I want to come up. Formation's actually okay. So I'm well, maybe I'm not going to focus on that, but we want to focus on performance, breach, and discharge. Crim law, it's half crim and half crim pro. I sort of always look at Crim Pro to diagnose, is it Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, where there are problems? And then everything else is kind of okay. So I'm not too worried about these right now. It's early. Evidence. The heavy hitters are more presentation of evidence and relevance and hearsay. So relevance looks like that is a heavy hitter that needs improvement. So I'm going to highlight that. There's not that many writings, recordings, and photographs questions, but it's at 38.5%. So I want to bring that up. So I want to pull up those questions. Property, these are all equal. So ownership, we've got to look at. And then also I focus on titles here first. Torts, half the questions are negligence. That's pretty solid. It's really all of torts. So we have a couple subjects here that are pretty decent. So I've got this data, right? I have this open and I'm going to go back to Adaptivar. So now you should see side by side. So now what I'm going to do is, based on what I highlighted, I'm going to go to past questions. So let's say I want to figure out what I didn't, what I need to work on within jurisdiction and venue. So first of all, I deselect correct and I just click Civ Pro and I select jurisdiction and venue. Oh, and I need to change the dates. So all sessions. Okay, so 46 jurisdiction and venue questions that I've gotten wrong. Generate report, and then I click export. PDF, or if you've taken notes, PDF plus notes. Gives me a PDF report. I can then open it, and now I can look at, and like when I'm tutoring someone, I look at their data and I pull up their questions and I look at and go through and identify what they've missed. And then I can look, so I have this open, I can see the question, I can see the correct answer, I can see what they picked and go through the answer explanation. And I've got all of the answer explanations here too. Because with every question, you want to really understand what is wrong with all three answer explanations. And I'm going to do this in that Civ Pro MBE class. I'm going to dig deep into it for a few questions. I actually can't have that on the screen because it's licensed, but it does give you all of that information plus the answer explanations. And then in a lot of them, they have a brief explanation and an extended where they have the rules. So sorry, I can't leave that up actually, I just realized because it's licensed. The other thing that you can do is in Adaptivar. So let's say I want to look at performance by subject. And let's see all sessions. So let's do custom dates. Let's say I just want to see how this person was doing right before the bar in February. So I just want to see February 1st to today, basically. So in the month of February, then looking at that data compared to before, right? If we include the whole range, our numbers are going to look sadder. They're generally, because we generally improve over time. So we want to see how we've been doing, how we're improving. So you can really do that here in Adaptivar. And I often, like when I'm tutoring people, I often show them this, look, you're actually progressing a lot because it doesn't feel like it. Every day feels like such a slog. And if you just look at the questions of all time, it doesn't look as good. But when you isolate it, it can look better and you can see really how you're performing in this, in the month leading up to the bar, which is really helpful information to have and to know. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show you here. So thank you, Sawa, again, for letting me share. Are there any other questions? Oh, hi, Babita. No worries. This is recorded. It will be posted tomorrow. You'll get an email with the link and all of that. Here is my email. If you guys need anything, you can email me there. And yeah, if you want to check out those practice sessions, I think are going to be really good. I'm really excited. We're going to do a bunch of different subjects each time. I'll do a breakdown, etc. So we're like in it together doing these like long, like kind of marathon sessions. I do like the Emmanuel Strategies and Tactics book for the MBE. I definitely think it's worth it. I think mine is better, but I'm biased. I think Emmanuel's explanations are really solid, and I do think the tips are good. And yeah, somebody asked, do I recommend tutoring for people who have taken the bar multiple times? It really depends. If you're debating it, you should set up a score review session with me or my team, and we can talk to you, look at your scores. I don't always recommend it. And sometimes people need, quite a bit of tutoring. Sometimes people don't need any. Sometimes people need just a little bit. It really depends on the person and looking at your data and talking to you, figuring out what you have done that hasn't worked. Do I recommend saving 100, 200 multiple choice for 3-hour practice sessions? Yeah. I mean, yes and no. Yes, I do recommend you should have some questions that are set aside to do as mock exams. Yeah. And I think you should do them printed as well. All right. And again, I'll put the link for those of you that want to schedule a score review session. If you have not done that yet, I think a bunch came in while I've been on this session, but whatever we can do to help you guys, help you all taking the exam, we're here for you. I got one more question. What would I say is the biggest difference, the biggest essay differences with the UBE after taking California? The UBE essays are so much more pointed and direct. So, and they go a lot deeper. They go a lot deeper. Oh, secure transactions should be on there. It should be on there. I knew I was missing something. It's secure transactions will be on there. It should be instead of conflicts, really, because conflicts will be mixed in a little bit with the others. And secure transactions is tested a lot. Sorry, let me go back to what I was on. The biggest difference, though, is really that the UBE questions are much more pointed and direct. For example, like, you're not going to, and they will often really tell you exactly what they're looking for when you go straight to that issue. So that is the big difference. They're also much longer fact patterns. So you have to read a lot. You don't use every single fact. The better answer will use more, but California, you're supposed to use every fact. There's short, concise fact patterns. So that's the biggest difference. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. If you all have any questions, please feel free to shoot us an email. And again, I will put up the link to schedule a session. It's with me or my team. So feel free to join us. And I hope I see you guys in the free workshops and in the practice sessions, all of that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to all of those things. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Bye.